Hi, everybody, and welcome to the last part of our school year. Hope you had a good spring break. I know it's kind of strange for all of us, but hopefully we'll do okay. And just note that my plan is to help you to really understand this material and to get you prepared for whatever your plans are, be it anatomy and physiology junior year, your AP bio classes, whatever it is, AP physics, AP chem. We're going to get you as prepared as we possibly can so that you can be successful both your freshman and your sophomore year. And as a department, we've worked really super close together to try to make sure that everything that you're learning is going to sequentially, whatever it is, they're all going to flow. And so hopefully you won't have any gaps in your learning. That's what we're definitely trying to be cognizant of while we're laying out the rest of the weeks. You're going to notice here that on Tuesday, this is going to be the activity that's available for you. I've posted it as you saw, otherwise you wouldn't be in here right now. And you're going to go through it. And some of the things you might find are not that hard. You might find that you really did a good job of learning them in the pre-assessment section. Because remember, when we were doing the learning opportunities, those were bits of information that you actually did need to know. We just weren't going to be grading you on it at that time. And so if you find that after you go over this PowerPoint that you still are uncertain about certain components, great, write those questions down. And then come see me on Wednesday or Friday for office hours. And it's real helpful if you send me the questions in advance, because if you do that, then I can go ahead and be prepared prior to us meeting in case I need to have anything put together for it. You'll see here, the first two learning targets are things that you really have already done. That's why we're basically just saying review. And that is that you understand the basic structure and function of DNA. This is so incredibly important. And that we're also going to review the basic steps and purpose of protein synthesis, better known as central dogma, okay? The third component is I can model the biological processes that lead to genetic variation and how that results in a variety of traits. That's our next step. So learning that molecular chemistry, if you will, biological molecular chemistry, and seeing how that's going to fit for determining what organisms turn out to be like. And so this all plays a role. Your genes are all determined on what those nucleotides are all about. So basically on our agenda, you can see that we're going to have a pre-assessment concept map. And then you're going to have our review of DNA and central dogma, and then genetic variation video and guide. That's going to be your second bit of homework. And then genetic variation and protein synthesis modeling will be the other component of homework. Homework will be due tomorrow by 8 p.m. So you're watching this on Tuesday, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. is when your homework's going to be due. And if you don't get it in on time, that's okay. It just means it'll be late work, okay? So your homework, as it says, is going to draw a pre-assessment concept map either by hand or digitally, and then submit the picture or the CMAP to assignments on Canvas, and I'll show you how to do that. It's going to be going into Canvas under our module, which is Unit 4, Coevolution of Life and Earth. And you'll see that I've also, this next slide is going to show you what a CMAP is, just in case you're curious. And then, of course, the second homework assignment is to post your initial genetic variation and protein synthesis model to the Canvas discussions. Both, like I said, are going to be due by 4/8 tomorrow, Wednesday, by 8 o'clock. Okay, so then today's learning targets, you've already seen these here. Let me get out of the way here. The vocabulary words you've already seen: DNA, RNA, transcription, translation. Genotype and phenotype, you might have had a little bit of an introduction to them in middle school. Chromosomes, you've probably heard the term. Nucleotides, I could put genes in here. There'll be other terms that might be familiar with you, but keep in mind, start a running list of all the vocabulary words you're not too sure of. By the time we get done with the unit, you should have a good, strong definition for them, okay? Keep in mind, you've got this textbook, and this textbook is really super good. So make sure you're using this textbook, okay? And then, of course, Google when necessary. So the main questions we're going to try to consider, first of all, is how do you structure DNA and RNA? How do they affect the way that, that a protein synthesis, how it functions? What is the purpose of protein synthesis? Oh my gosh, that was like the biggest thing you have to understand. And then of course, what's the difference between a genotype and a phenotype, where we're heading for? So our homework then, your first assignment is going to be with our Unit 4, Coevolution of Life and Earth. You're going to create a pre-assessment map. And if you take a moment to look at those 5 questions that have been written down here, you're going to use these 5 questions along with the 3 following statements afterwards to help yourself develop a concept map. So the 5 questions you're seeing there are, what are the largest groupings of present-day organisms? You might or might not know what those things are. 2, how are organisms similar to and different from each other? How do scientists relate the different kinds of organisms? What has led to the evolution of life over time? And what do scientists examine to find out how living things have changed over time? So I would have written down those first 5 questions. In your spiral notebook, you would have opened it up, you would have written Unit 4, you would have written, just like we did before, okay? And then what you're gonna do is write these 5 questions down so you can make reference to them. And if you look down below, there's some terms that you should try to see if you're able to incorporate them in your concept map. Again, keep in mind, this is a pre-assessment, so I don't expect you to completely know all this stuff. So you don't have to go and find out what everything means right now, but you should have at least a little bit of an idea, possibly. So wherever possible, use those terms of genotype, phenotype, variation, DNA, protein, mutations, environment, inheritance, genes, chromosomes, whatever form of the term that you want to use whichever one you feel is going to be necessary. Hold on a second here. It's going to zap me in a moment. My computer. Here we go. Come on. Oops. Go away. Oh, shoot. Go away. Okay. Sorry about that. And then if you'll notice the second one, I really like this. Ms. Petkovic uses this. To help you make your concept map easier to read, they put the number of the question relevant to it. So whichever one that it's related to just kind of helps you see. For instance, if you know large grouping of present organisms, maybe some of you are going to say things like, I don't know, prokaryotes or eukaryotes. Or maybe you're going to say, I don't know, animals, plants. There's different groupings. And so we'll see which kind of grouping you come up with. And then you're going to upload a picture and or a link to your pre-assessment concept map. And so let me stop for just a second here. Give me a second just to stop.